Welcome back to Uncle Skinny Reviews. I'm your host, Uncle Skinny, and this is Uncle Skinny Reviews, where we are the number one, probably number two now. I've been away for a little bit of time. But the number two show on YouTube for just in general, we are the number two, period. But we focus on movie reviews and reviewing the movies, talking about them because they are so important. They're so near to and dear to our hearts, and they're the reason that I'm alive today. It's been a while, I know. A lot has happened to me. It's been quite the journey. As you may know, last we left off, I had joined a spiritual group that were teaching me to become more than human. I mean, literally, they were talking aliens. It's come to light that it was maybe a giant scam, and they pretty much robbed me blind. I mean, I funneled everything into their bullshit, and it is bullshit. But the good news is they're all dead. Basically, me, the group, we went down to Nevada to do some kind of rituals to achieve the next step in alien consciousness and human transcendence. And not to be cliche, but they all drank Kool-Aid and took their own lives. And I had kind of not even reached the step in my development yet, or I got the memo that they were going to do that. But basically, it was super hot out, and they had the Kool-Aid. They drank Kool-Aid. It was like a storybook, really. But, you know, they had the grape flavor, which I always had a massive aversion to. Even when I was a kid, I hate the grape flavor. It's disgusting. But it was so hot out, just took a couple sips, enough to make me drowsy. And I had woken up buried in a mountain of corpses, which were baking under the Nevada sun. They were kind of steaming or roasting. Braising, actually, because it was getting a little juicy at a certain point of time. But I was rescued by the feds, and I have been in a rehabilitation center ever since, and this is my rehabilitation room. It's my rehab room. And I can watch movies, which is great. They do allow me that pleasure, is to be able to watch movies and do the show, which is great. Because in that old fucking group, they wouldn't even allow me to watch movies, which movies is all I care about. So, you know, it was a big scam, waste of time, and I'm glad they're dead. And if they were not dead, I would track them down now, and I would probably, who knows? But I sometimes I fantasize about it, because they took that away from me, and it's the one true thing I care about, is movies. So, let's get to the movies today, guys. And so the first movie we have for you guys today is Come to Daddy, which came out February 2020, directed by Ant Timpson, which is just such a fun name to say. You can say it out loud, and it really just makes your day. It puts a smile on your face. Say Ant Timpson, and you almost want to say Thompson, and it's not. It is Timpson, which I think is just such a hoot. Come to Daddy has Elijah Wood, starring as Norval, which is another funny name, I think. You have Ant Timpson and Norval, and that's a whole lot of fun right there. Norval is a kind of mild-mannered yet self-absorbed, affluent hipster kid who responds to a letter written by his estranged father to come see him. So he comes to see his estranged father, who he hasn't seen since he was 5 years old, at his father's kind of isolated seaside home. In meeting his father, who is sort of a cantankerous older man, their relationship right off the bat is met with a lot of tension. His father kind of disapproves of his foppish lifestyle. And it doesn't really seem like the two are going to get to know or grow with each other in their newfound relationship. And then, in the midst of a heated argument, Norville's father has a heart attack, keels over, and dies. Since his father's passing, Norville starts noticing very strange noises around the house, kind of haunting noises. Unwittingly, he starts to uncover the truth about who his father was and is. Now, if you think this is going to be some sort of ghost story or a touching story of a father and son, you'd be very mistaken. Come to Daddy is actually hilarious, and I feel a little guilty by leaving the plot off right there, because it really does take a massive left turn right after its first act, and I really don't want to spoil that for you. I want you to be surprised. It definitely sort of takes you for a ride. Like I said before, Come to Daddy is hilarious. It is a dark kind of comedy with these weird, quirky, surreal moments, and almost Tarantino-esque. It tips its hat to glorifying and delighting in violence and gore in the funnest way possible. The dialogue here is really well done. I think going into the movie, you're kind of like, okay, this is kind of weird, and I don't know why Elijah Wood looks the way he does, because in this movie, he really does look ridiculous as this hipster kid. But as it unfolds, you kind of realize that it's all very farcical, and it's not taking itself too seriously, and it is sort of supposed to kind of build in the humor, and the humor is really, really well executed, well written, very witty and intelligent. The violence is even kind of funny in this movie too, albeit obviously kind of very gruesome and disturbing, but not so much in the way that you're really kind of cringing, because it's all done with a very comedic overtones. I think this movie was really, really fun. I wouldn't necessarily call it a horror movie. I don't necessarily think it fits into that genre. I think horror fans could appreciate it. This is just kind of fun, very pulpy kind of movie that only runs about an hour and a half, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it is streaming on Hulu, so go watch it there. I'm going to give Come to Daddy a solid 7 out of 10. It just made me laugh, and I need a laugh right now in my life. So I was glad for that. It was a blessing, in fact, because I don't know what I would have done without it. So Come to Daddy, you get a perfect 7 out of 10 score from Uncle Skinny for saving my life. Next movie that we have for you guys today is Phenomena, a 1985 Italian horror movie directed by the iconic Dario Argento of Suspiria fame, and it even stars a young Jennifer Connelly, who plays, her character's name is also Jennifer, which I think is, maybe they did that on purpose. Jennifer Connelly stars as Jennifer, who plays a young woman who's sent to a sort of an all-girls academy in the Swiss Alps. And she finds that she has a sort of psychic connection with insects, and this ability, while it freaks out her peers at the girls' academy and her teachers, it does aid her in helping catching a serial killer in the town. Phenomena, Dario Argento. This movie, what can I say? It's incredibly stylistic. It's Dario Argento at his most signature. The colors, the palettes, the framing, just the visuals alone are so striking and so sort of alluring that it's really hard to keep your eyes off it. It is entrancing, it is mesmerizing, and of course, it wouldn't be a Dario Argento movie without an incredible soundtrack delivered by the band Goblin, krautrock band back in the day. Awesome. And Motorhead and Iron Maiden have tracks on the soundtrack as well. So that's pretty fucking cool, in my opinion. And this movie is really cool. It's an incredible watch. If you like Suspiria, if you've seen that, Phenomena is going to deliver that same sort of experience. I would say, as far as the horror elements go, and its sort of depictions of violence and blood and gore, which all of that is there, it does get a little campy. But yet part of me thinks that the camp is sort of the charm in the same sense. You know, you see people's heads get lopped off and you very clearly know that it's like a mannequin, like it's not done with the most finesse. And yet there's something very kind of, well, charming about that. It kind of lends itself to the style of the movie. And so I don't necessarily see it that much as a detriment, as it's just another sort of stroke in Dario Argento's toolkit of artistry. That was a mouthful. I didn't expect that to come out. So personally, I'm going to give Phenomena an 8 out of 10. That being said, it may not be for everybody in the sense that it has a massive camp factor. You know, the acting, again, some of the violence and gore. All these things are incredibly campy, and even the soundtrack, to some degree, some could find campy. I think it rocks. I'm all about it, and I think stylistically, especially considering the sort of cinematography, which I think is true to being really amazing and visually appealing, I think all the components personally are there for me to say this is a great 8 out of 10 movie. If you're a fan of Dario Argento's and haven't seen this one, it's a must watch. If you liked Suspiria and want to kind of watch something that's not Suspiria but feels like Suspiria, this is, I couldn't recommend a more fitting movie. Phenomena, Dario Argento, 8 out of 10. Well, guys, that's it for me. That's Uncle Skinny Reviews this week. Hope to be back next week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, my Uncle Skinny family out there. Your thoughts and prayers have been appreciated. So thank you for that.